Alright, hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you our latest build of SolPlex game, and it will be launched on 16th of September. We'll be launching closed beta. So this video will help you understand core mechanics that we'll have in the game. When you first log into the game, you will start with a single undeveloped colony, and first thing to do here is to start some resource production. By default, we have 40 resource production for the tier 1 resources. Those are basic resources that are basically used in producing every single other resource as well. And actually we have way more advanced resources here, but they are hidden by default since you don't produce them. We'll get to creating them later. So what we're looking at right now is outer colony view, where we have all different resource bases. You are spawned on default tile, where you have 4 of each resource type, except for NU. For NU you have 6 placements for the buildings. So let's build some buildings and increase our resource production. You can see when we started building the resource building, our amount of resources decreased a little bit and it went into the queue. Right now it's producing, and this building will be done in 2 minutes. What we have here is a building queue. We can add right now up to 10 different buildings. So if we add some BP production, some more NU production, some plastic plantation, and some gas, and also for the sake of it, let's add some metal here and here. So as you can see, now we have 7 buildings in the queue, and they'll be produced one by one. When the next one will start, it will consume some of our resources. So on the outer colony we can upgrade and produce those buildings. Let's fast forward a little bit until those buildings are completed. Okay, the buildings are done, and as you can see, here they are. Right now for those we have placeholders, so this is not a final view of how the building would look like. Let's go to the inner colony and create some buildings that actually do something other than produce resources. So here's our view of the inner colony. Right now we have just the main building and nothing else here, and a big giant map where other buildings will be produced. So in the building menu we have basically queue and 3 other tabs. First tab is basic resources. On the second tab we have buildings that convert basic resources to more advanced resources, and on third one we have buildings that do everything else. For example, we can let's build some buildings that increase our capacity for the storage. Since we're developing resource buildings, it would be nice if we can store more than we can store right now. Right now we can store about 800 of each building. So Food Vault will increase our NU capacity, and Omni Depot will increase capacity for everything else. And as you can see, when we add to the queue new buildings, we're unlocking some more buildings. When you start the game, most of the buildings will be unavailable for you until you build other buildings, and as you can see we have a lot of buildings. So if I remove from the queue this Omni Depot, you can see I can build an Obtainium Depot. An Obtainium Depot is the building that allows us to store those other buildings. So let's upgrade it to a few levels before we proceed with creating more advanced resources. And now let's fast forward. Okay, so we created our buildings. Here is our Unobtainium Depot, which we have, and this is basically building menu. On each level you see what this building does. Later we'll add information about how much capacity we'll add. Also, it's important that every level of every building increases our maximum population. I'll tell you what it does a little bit later and for what we use population. So now if we open our resource tab, we see that we have opened those resources. So I received those from another player, and right now we don't produce those ourselves. So in order to produce those, we can go to advanced resources and build a few buildings that add production. So this first building converts NU and gas into DS here, and another process of this building also produces IX. So let's fast forward until it is done. And now, as you can see, we have some production of DS and IX, and if you noticed, our production of those resources decreased a bit. This is happening because we're actually consuming those resources to produce more advanced resources. If we go to this tab, we can see overview of our production. So here is our basic buildings, and we can see how much in UBP, and gas we produce. And here are our advanced resources. We can manually decrease how much we consume and produce out of maximum. So to produce this, we are consuming some NU and gas, and as you can see, we can disable it totally, and in that case DS won't be produced at all. But on the other hand, we now produce more NU and gas. So let's increase it to maximum, and we can see gas was plus 39, right now it's plus 34. The same idea goes with all other advanced resources. Once you unlock buildings that convert one resource to another, or some resources to another, you will increase consumption of those resources, but you will produce new resource. For what you need new resources? Basically, you need those for some advanced buildings, some advanced levels of normal buildings, and you need those for constructing units. So if we open this tab here, you can see we can produce units here, but right now we don't have a building that creates those units. We have several unit types. Our infantry units are K units, and each later one is more stronger than the previous one. Units differ in different dimensions. Some units are more defense oriented, some units are more offense oriented. Also there is a carry capacity. It's basically amount of resources that units can carry. This is needed when you raid other colonies, and you can basically attack other players and steal their resources that are not hidden. And to hide a resource you need Hypernova Reserve, which is basically a building that can hide some of your resources from the raids of other players. You will definitely need this one if you don't want to get raided and lose all your resources, or you need to build a strong army. So let's build Hypernova Reserve. I will later show you how to hide resources, and let's build Soldier's Cradle. This building basically will allow us to produce the simplest K1 unit, which is the unit that we will be producing after the fast forward when the buildings are done. So let's see. Okay, so you can see that now we have built our Soldier's Cradle. Here it is. You can see when at close up how beautiful the map looks. Basically everything is really detailed, but we have some placeholders. So for example, this building is not yet finished because you can see the edges. It will be fixed soon, and the same goes for around 40% of the buildings. So for 40% of the buildings we have placeholders, and for the rest of them we have this very nice view. So since we have Soldier's Cradle, we can now produce our K1 unit. When you create a unit, to create each unit you need to consume your population. So on the right you can see that our current population is 40 people out of maximum 161. Maximum number of population, it's increased with each level of each building. And when you when you create units, you will basically consume this population. You can see that now we have 10k1 units in the queue, and the population didn't decrease because it's a bug, right? Yeah, it's a known bug. We'll fix it by the beta launch. So for what you need population? You need population for two things. First is unit production, and another one, your active population, which is 40 right now, creates culture points. Culture points are displayed here. Since we just started, it's right now 0, and eventually it will go up. Culture points are needed to create new colony. So to found new colony, you need some culture points, and also you need a building which can produce settler. Right now we have 0 settlers. To produce settler, you need, which one was it? Settler's cradle. Right now we can build this because we have lots of requirements for it. Alright, so when we have some units, we'll be able to attack other colonies. If we go to the global map, which by the way, look how nice and detailed it is, you can see that on some tiles we have other colonies. Tiles basically differ in several ways. You can, if you see the difference, you'll know that different tiles have different slots for base resources. If we center the map, we can see our tile have 6 slots for NU and 4 slots for each other base resource. But you can also find, I think this one, yeah, this one have 50 NU and 1 of each, so this one will be very valuable later in the game when everyone has a lot of army. Because army actually consumes nutrition medium, which is a resource, which is one of the base resources. When you have large army, you'll see that with each unit you will have reduced delta of NU production. Right now we have 40, but when we produce 17 of our units, that will decrease by 17. And it's also possible that you produce so much army that you will have negative delta, so you have to look carefully after that. If you don't have any food for your army will start to slowly die. So you need to feed your army. So yeah, on the global map you have basically 3 tiles which are different, and you have other colonies which you can attack. Right now, if we open attack menu, since we don't have any army, you can send anything. We have different type of units that you can send, so let's look at them. K, A and M units are basically infantry, mechanized units and flying units, and each of them is more stronger than another. And we also have special units. So O unit is basically units that can destroy buildings of other players. It's the slowest unit in the game, so it will take you a while to walk to another colony to destroy a building, but it's very strong because it can destroy actually buildings, which is very powerful. T unit also can destroy buildings, and it's extremely fast, but it's probably the most expensive unit in the game. Only S unit can defend against T unit. And also what's important about T unit, it's a suicide unit, so when you send it to other colony, always it will die fully. All the units that you send of this type will die fully. S unit defends against T unit, and also it acts as a scout, so you can scout other colonies to find out what armies they have, what defensive structures they have, such as for example colony walls or shields, and you can find out what resources and artifacts they have. Right now though we don't have artifacts, we'll have them later in the game, but so you know. And regarding our defensive structures, we have colony walls. It basically increases defenses of all units within the colony. And we have different types of shields which provide some defense against O and T units. Shields basically defend your colony from incoming destruction, which you definitely want to avoid. Alright, so what else? Let's build some more buildings and see how the colony looks when it's fully developed. And you will be able to see that we have a lot of placeholders that we are gradually working on replacing. It's actually, to build such a beautiful map, it takes a lot of time. Okay, so let's fast forward. Okay, as you can see, we have developed our colony quite a bit. On the top you can see that we are now producing some of very difficult resources to produce. But we are producing them and we have no way to store them. So to fix that, you can basically go to this menu and modify storage. We have built an Obtainium depot, which is a building, I think, yeah, it's here. When you build it, it allows you storage of advanced resources, tier 2 to tier 5. So this is tier 1 and everything else is tier 2 to tier 5. You can configure your Unobtainium depot, how much it can store of each resource here. So you can manage it manually, remove some storage from resources that you don't have, you don't produce it, or in our case we produce it but we actually consume way more of it than we produce, so we don't need much storage for it. We can actually leave it at 500 and it will be more than enough. Oh yeah, let's not lose excesses. So we removed storage capacity of 1500 from it, and let's add it to SR, which is, where is SR? Yeah, here. Let's add some capacity to those resources so we don't lose them when they are being produced. Those productions are basically amount you produce in 1 hour. So in this menu you can not only increase and decrease amount of your Unobtainium depot capacity, how much you can store, but you can also, as I showed you already before, modify all your production to ensure that you have smooth production that you like in your production chain. And also you can configure Hypernova Reserve. It distributes by default here to basic resources, and we can, for example, if we produce some advanced resource, we can remove some more and we can add this to, for example, NS. And after it's saved, if someone raids us, we will have 1000 resources basically hidden from the raiders. We will hide 500 of up to 500 of NS and up to 500 of NU. And Hypernova Reserve is here, it's level 2. If we increase its level, we will increase capacity of Hypernova Reserve and of how much resources we can basically hide from other players. So since we developed our colony quite a lot, we can see very nice buildings that we now have, advanced buildings, and some placeholder buildings. So we have, by building those buildings, we opened advanced units. You can see that more advanced units cost more, you need more time to produce, and they're more powerful. So, and we can also produce now M units. Actually, during the fast forward, I created 7 of those units. You can see them in the army tab. And yeah, we can basically send those units to attack any unit, any colony on the map. Also, we have created trade nexus, which allows us trading. On top, you can see that we have 4 out of 4 traders available. Basically, you have as many traders as the level of trade nexus. And here is our trade tab. Basically, you can send in this tab you can send resources to any colony by selecting X and Y coordinate. You can also create by order. For example, we have a lot of LU, so let's go here and let's say we want to sell 1000 of this for 100 tokens. All the trading is happening against tokens, which you can see on the top right. Let's click save, and now we have our trade offer here, which other players can buy from the market if they have enough tokens. And we also can create a sell order. Oh, wait a second. I actually create buy order. Sorry, I created buy order for this resource. So let's delete this because I wanted to create a sell order. Let's create a sell order here. We're selling 1000 LU for 100 tokens. Saved. And we can also look for orders of other players. So in this tab we'll have sell orders of other players. Right now I'm playing on a server without other players. It's a dev server. And also you can look for buy orders. Once the game will launch, you will see all the different orders of other players here. And also it's important to mention that all the trading always happens against tokens, so you can trade resources against tokens and artifacts against tokens. And what you can do with those tokens is you can send it to another player. You can also withdraw it to blockchain, where you can trade it on decentralized exchange. You can also not only sell on DEX but also buy tokens for a particular game server on DEX and deposit them to your game account. And this functionality will actually come quite soon, and every player will be able to basically earn some tokens in the game itself by producing resources and selling them on the market to NPC colonies or to players who actually don't mind spending tokens to advance in the game in order to win in the game, because when you win in the game you will receive some of the handsome reward. So yeah, that's the idea behind tokens in the game. And I guess that's pretty much it to show for you today. Maybe one last thing is that we'll support several languages in the game, so yeah. And that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for your attention and have a good one.